she never thought betrayal could wear the face of love. She never imagined that the person she trusted most would become the source of her deepest conflict. But life has a way of twisting the heart, of pulling it toward forbidden places. And this is the story of how one woman fell for her best friend's fiancé, and how that choice changed everything. It began on a rainy evening, the kind that makes the city lights blur into streaks of gold and silver. Clara had just returned from work, exhausted, when her phone buzzed with a message from her best friend, Amelia. "Come over tomorrow," it read. "I want you to meet someone." Clara smiled, not knowing that this invitation would mark the beginning of a storm she could never escape. Amelia had always been the radiant one, the girl who drew people in effortlessly. Clara admired her, envied her sometimes, but loved her all the same. They had been inseparable since childhood, just sharing secrets, dreams, and heartbreaks. So when Amelia said she had someone special to introduce, Clara was genuinely happy for her. The next day, Clara walked into Amelia's apartment, the scent of vanilla candles filling the air, and there he was, Daniel. Tall, composed, with eyes that seemed to hold stories untold. He stood beside Amelia, his hand resting lightly on her shoulder, and when he turned to greet Clara, something shifted. Clara felt it instantly, a spark she tried to dismiss as nothing more than admiration. But Daniel's gaze lingered a second too long, and in that moment, Clara's world tilted. They spoke casually, laughter flowing easily between them. Daniel was charming, but not in the rehearsed way Clara had seen in others. He listened intently, asked thoughtful questions, and when he smiled, it was as though the room brightened. Clara tried to focus on Amelia, reminding herself that this man belonged to her best friend. Yet, as the evening unfolded, Clara found herself drawn to him in ways she couldn't explain. She left that night unsettled, her heart betraying her mind. Days turned into weeks, and Daniel became a constant presence. Amelia, thrilled about her engagement, often invited Clara to join them for dinners, outings, and wedding planning sessions. Clara obliged, wanting to support her friend, but each encounter with Daniel deepened the conflict within her. She noticed the way his eyes softened when they spoke, the subtle pauses in his sentences, as though he weighed his words carefully around her. She told herself it was nothing, that she was imagining it, but the tension grew undeniable. One evening, after Amelia had excused herself to take a call, Clara and Daniel found themselves alone in the living room. The silence was heavy, charged. Daniel leaned back, his gaze fixed on Clara. "You know," he said quietly, "Amelia talks about you all the time. She says you're the strongest person she knows." Clara forced a smile, her heart racing. "She exaggerates," she replied. But Daniel shook his head. "No, I can see it. There's something about you." His words lingered, and Clara felt the ground beneath her shift again. She wanted to run, to escape the dangerous pull, but she stayed, caught in the gravity of his presence. Clara's nights became restless. She replayed their conversations, the subtle glances, the unspoken words. Guilt gnawed at her, but desire whispered louder. She tried to distance herself, making excuses to avoid Amelia's invitations, but Amelia noticed. "You've been so busy lately," she said one afternoon. "Daniel misses you." "We both do." Clara's heart sank. She wanted to scream, to confess, but instead she nodded, forcing a smile. She couldn't betray Amelia. Not yet. The wedding preparations intensified. Clara was asked to be the maid of honor, a role she accepted with trembling hands. She stood beside Amelia as they chose dresses, tasted cakes, and planned the perfect day. All the while, Daniel's presence haunted her. He never crossed a line, never spoke words of betrayal, but his eyes told a different story. They spoke of longing, of recognition, of a bond neither dared to name. Clara felt trapped in a labyrinth of emotions, every path leading to heartbreak. Then came the night that changed everything. Amelia had gone out of town for a bridal fitting, leaving Daniel to finalize some details. Clara stopped by to drop off a folder Amelia had forgotten. She intended to leave quickly, but Daniel insisted she stay for a cup of tea. The air was thick with unspoken tension. They sat across from each other, silence stretching between them. Finally, Daniel spoke. "Clara," he said, his voice low, "I can't pretend anymore. I feel something. For you." The words hung in the air, heavy, dangerous. Clara's breath caught. She wanted to deny it, to push him away, but her heart betrayed her. "I feel it too," she whispered. And in that moment, The world shattered. They didn't kiss. They didn't touch. But the confession was enough to ignite a fire that neither could extinguish. Clara left that night shaken, torn between loyalty and desire. She knew she had crossed a line, even without action. The guilt consumed her, but the longing remained. She tried to bury it, to focus on Amelia's happiness, but every glance from Daniel reminded her of the truth they had spoken. The wedding day approached, and Clara stood beside Amelia, smiling through the storm inside her. She watched Daniel at the altar, his eyes flickering toward her for the briefest second, and she knew. He loved Amelia, but he also loved her. The weight of that truth was unbearable. As vows were exchanged, Clara felt tears sting her eyes. She clapped, she cheered, she played her role, but inside, she was breaking. After the ceremony, Clara slipped away, needing air. Daniel found her outside, his expression conflicted. "I meant every word," he said softly, "but I chose her. I have to honor that." Clara nodded, her heart aching. "And I have to honor her too," she replied. They stood in silence, knowing that their story could never be written, vowed that their love would remain a shadow, hidden in the corners of their hearts. Years passed, and Clara moved on. She built a life, found love elsewhere, but the memory of Daniel lingered. She never told Amelia, never revealed the secret that could destroy everything. It became a silent scar, a reminder of the choices she made, of the love she sacrificed. And though she carried the weight of that forbidden bond, she also carried the strength of restraint, the courage to protect her friend, even at the cost of her own heart. In the end, Clara learned that love is not always about possession. Sometimes it is about sacrifice, about choosing loyalty over desire, about protecting the ones we cherish even when it breaks us. She fell for her best friend's fiancé, yes, but she also rose above it. And that, perhaps, was the truest form of love she could ever give.